All right, Big Bang. Today is Tuesday. It's August 11th. Welcome to the Dog Walk presented by Barstool Sports. Snake Draft Tuesday. It's Chief and I in studio. White Sox Dave is in Greenland, so he's out. On Zoom, we're joined by Klemmer, Jerry Thornton, KFC. Jerry, welcome back. It's been a little bit, sir. Thank you for doing this.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me on board. And I like that it's a history one. So I sort of fit into that because I was an old man then, according to Portnoy's book.
I feel like you haven't aged a day, Jerry. Because I've been a fan of Barstool since college, which was like 2005. And you were obviously in the mix at that point. I feel like you look the exact same 20 years later.
I appreciate that. I'm a little bit more of a silver fox, but my recommendation to all you guys is, as you age, drink unicorn blood. It works. Worked for Voldemort. It was working for me. It's a half-life, but it's better than the alternative.
Hold on. Oh, okay.
Since I met you, it has not changed a second, man.
Yeah, sorry, Kevin. You cut out for a second. Talk a little bit.
I just said that Jerry has, like, he was as old as he was when I first saw him in 2009, and he has not changed.
It's pretty crazy.
You know what gets to people is the stress. And I don't care about anything. So I'm going to live like a Galapagos tortoise because as long as the Patriots are doing okay, nothing else in the world bothers me. But thank you, fellas. I appreciate the compliment.
This is such an old man stream. Like Kevin's at war with his phone right now. I mean, this is.
I know. I was working on the list for this, and I sent part of it to Eddie by mistake. I said, this is the classic old man thing. And right now, I'd say I'm batting about 500 when it comes to zipping up my fly after I go to the bathroom. Like, I used to be 1,000%. It wasn't even a question. And now, like, every time I'll have beers with friends after golf, and I'll get the, hey, you're, okay, that's me now.
Well, I did wake up Barstool today with Dana Beers, and his fly was down the first 15 minutes of the show. So it happens.
Yeah.
I'm just happy I don't like dribble down the front of my pants. Oh my God, it's a successful trip to the bathroom right there. That's a win.
All right, so here's the thing. This is the third iteration we've done of this, guys. We've done 1996. We've done 2008. So as people can tell by the title, we're doing 2001. In the past, we have put certain things off limits. I want to know where you guys think we should go with this one because we did an NBA draft once, and we're like, Jordan's Jordan, he shouldn't be draftable. We did a Sopranos one because, and Tony Soprano was undraftable. Should 9/11, is it so big where it's like, obviously it's the 1-1 pick. Should this be off the board?
I think it should be allowed, but I think that there are many things related to that happened either on 9/11 or soon after that are also draftable moments. So if you get 9/11, if you take 9/11, you don't get like everything associated with it.
Okay.
I mean, it's a guaranteed mortal lock #1 pick, no matter what. I mean, it's if you took the entire 21st century, if you took the last 50 years, it's probably the #1 pick. So, I mean, we could stipulate to it, and there's so many 9/11 adjacent things that if we just took it off the board, it's not going to leave us with a lack of choices.
That's true too.
Yeah.
I also I don't know if you can have a 2001 draft and then there's
that's true too. Then
That's what I'm thinking.
It's almost disrespectful.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then it's
Okay, fair enough.
people be calling us deniers. So
Well,
that would become its own situation.
let's do a follow-up dog walk on that later.
So for people listening, 5 subcategories as we've done the last 2 times, except there is one change. Obviously, we have the song, we have the movie, we have the news story, we have the sports moment, and the last category, instead of fad, it's just going to be miscellaneous, like a big thing that reminds you of something from that year. So many different ways you can go with for that one. So we'll see what happens there. Let's just do the order. Jerry, Lance is the number 1 through 5 behind his back. What number is it?
3.
Yep.
All right, Jerry, what spot do you want? Number 5, snake drafts, so you get back to back.
All right. I'm going to take. I'll take the last pick.
Okay.
Okay.
1 through 4, Klemmer.
2.
2. Yep.
Wow.
I'll take 1. First pick.
All right, there you go. Wonder what's coming. Kevin, 1 through 3.
3.
No.
Chief.
1.
1.
I'll go second.
All right, 1 or 2 to me. 2.
2.
I'll go 3. All right, so the order is Klemmer, Chief, Eddie, KFC, Jerry. Before we get underway, I want to talk about Rhoback Activewear, guys. Listen, best fit, best feel. Summer's here. And if your wardrobe isn't ready for it, Rhoback's got you. No excuses. Yeah, you know Rhoback for their polos and their hoodies, but their sweater polo is something people are sleeping on. I know Rhoback is not what comes to mind when you hear sweater polo. But trust me on this one. It's stretchy, incredibly comfortable, and it just looks clean. Rhoback snuck this up on everyone. And separately, the Rhoback Everyday Shorts is an all-around perfect summer short. I'm not overthinking it, neither should you. Great fit, great feel, works for everything. Elastic waistband for the comfort, but appearance of a nicer short if you want to dress it up. Barbecue, errands, night out, you name it, Rhoback just gets it. That's probably the best thing about Rhoback is it fits in so many different scenarios.
It's the best. Their hoodies, like that September, October, where you don't quite need a jacket. You don't want the heavy hoodie. It's the best. I don't know if you guys have noticed.
Soon.
I'm kind of in like a Tony Soprano fashion era where I just wear sweater polos basically every day. So the one from Rhoback is awesome too. So get that.
Go check it out. Use code Chicago on Rhoback.com for 20% off your first purchase through the end of this week. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. Sweater polos, everyday shorts, and everything else, 20% off with code Chicago. Also, guys, Stella Blue Coffee with Stella Blue Coffee. Ready to drink canned lattes. You can taste the difference and make a difference. Stella Blue cans are made with 100% Colombian coffee and packed with 190 milligrams of caffeine to fuel your day. Whether you're heading to work, the gym, a road trip, or just a better or need an afternoon pick-me-up, Stella Blue delivers a smooth taste wherever you are. And now it's easier than ever to keep your fridge stocked because Stella Blue canned lattes are available in convenient 4-packs. Here's the best part. 100% of proceeds will go towards our We Brew to Rescue mission, in which we're funding the adoption of 1,000 pets across the country. Grab a 4-pack of espresso sweet cream or espresso cafe mocha today on CellaBlueCoffee.com. And once you try them, you'll understand why they're the best canned lattes out there. You can also find Stella Blue in select Circle K and 7-Elevens around the country. Go to the store locator on CellaBlueCoffee.com to find a store near you. All right, Klemmer, without further ado, let's hear it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the biggest event of 2001 was 9/11. I mean, Jerry said earlier, you could like argue it's, one of the biggest events of the century, the last 50 years. I mean, what else would even be there? COVID? Like, I don't even know what else would even make the mark there. Consider just the after effects, TSA and all the changes we've had as a country after that. Obviously a war that happened after that. And we could probably go on for hours talking about whether that was worth it, which I don't believe it was. So, I mean, there's a lot of after effects of 9/11 that happened, but the event itself alone was just, I mean, I was in college. I'm sure you guys were all, it was just the most shocking I've ever seen. And the most tragic.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a sophomore. I was in English. It's one of those things, like, you remember exactly where you were. You remember, like, the people that were – I can't remember anything, but I remember, like, Shannon Mulder was my teacher. I remember, like, the kids in the class. It was, it was English class, and it was just, like, the whole day stopped. And I feel like I've said this before, but, like, remember they shut down all the air traffic for a few days, maybe a week, I don't know. But I remember, like, being out at football practice, like – either we took a day off, and then I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday, and there was like a single plane, it must have been a military plane, like flying over, and the whole practice stopped, and we just kind of stared at it go across the sky. Like everything felt so different, and has from that moment forward.
Yeah, I think it's one of those events that actually rewired your brain, or at least your perception of the world, and nothing has ever been the same. You can almost divide all our lifetimes in a before and an after. And I remember one of the early facts that came out of this was that each of the towers had so many people in it that they had their own specific zip code. And I remember thinking, like, we're all going to be maybe 2 degrees of separation away from somebody that was directly affected. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying, I practically was there. No, I wasn't. But I mean, my brother-in-law often took that very flight that flew into the first tower out of Boston, and it was his business partner was in the seat instead of him. and they think he might have been the guy who took the box cutter to the throat as a warning to all the other people. That's a guy I'm related to, someone he was close to, and I'm in Massachusetts. For those guys like KFC who was living down in New York, it had to have been way more immediate.
Yeah, I mean, it was it was weird having it be like in your backyard. It was, my best friend's father was a firefighter down like way downtown, probably like the first truck on the scene. And I remember him being like so excited, being like, my dad's there, like this is what he does. Like, him and the boys are down there and they're gonna fix it. And, a matter of minutes later, it was like, oh my God. So, we were doing candlelight vigils and all that stuff. So it was, the whole, and it changed like the whole school. Even I was a junior, and like, you grow up quick. I remember having like fights and beef with people, like stupid high school shit. And we just like ended all of it, hugged it out. We're like, this is, not important anymore. So I think that's almost the, my like lasting thoughts about it is it was so terrible, but the aftermath was like, so
the
not
unity.
nice, but and I hate to say it, and I don't even think it's dramatic to say it. Like, I don't think that'll ever happen again. I think if 9/11 happened today, it would be like 50-50, fighting, yelling, conspiracies. I just don't know if we'll ever come together the way we did after that. So that kind of sucks. But that was a nice part of it, if you can, silver linings of it all, is it was like the last time we were all really on the same page.
Yeah, and obviously
come together again. I mean, we had a civil war in this country, and we came together again. So I think we can come together again. It's just going to take some time.
Twitter did not exist during the Civil War, Klemmer. That's the problem.
It's true.
Yeah.
Jefferson Davis wasn't tweeting away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thought I have is how, in the aftermath of that, for months, like going into the following spring, there were like youth baseball leagues that had almost no one to coach.
Yeah.
Because the kind of guy who does that is the kind of guy who will run into a burning building and risk his own life. And they lost just so many of them. And, not to mention the people who worked in finance or whatever. And, we're coming up on the 25th anniversary. And, I know everyone's going to be reading the post that Large does every year and how immediate it was for him. So, yeah, absolutely the dominant story of the 21st century.
Yeah.
For people who are younger, and this is 25 years ago now, so like there's adults out there that weren't even alive when this happened.
There's people who work at Barstool who weren't even alive.
Yeah.
Right. There's a fantastic book, The Only Plane in the Sky. It's an oral history of the exact day. So for anyone who's just kind of looking for and it had different perspectives, like whether it be a teacher in the Bronx to the president, President Bush, like they all have kind of their stories are in this book in an oral history. It's fantastic read. If anyone's looking for a good book, The Only Plane in the Sky, cannot recommend it enough.
Yeah. No brainer. 1-1. Chief.
I don't know if this counts as a news or a sports, but I'm taking another 9/11 thing. But George Bush throwing out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium in the World Series, like that was such a moment where it felt like everybody was watching. The Yankees were obviously in the World Series, the epicenter of the whole thing. And I feel like, at least for me, and I think a lot of people, like you were still like very scared, right? Like the war on terror hadn't really started yet. I remember being fearful of like mall shootings and school shootings and additional like follow-on attacks, and like everything just felt like so chaotic and scary. And then the president gets up on the mound from the rubber and just like, I think it was the peak of his presidency, and just drills in a strike. And it just felt like, and the stadium erupted, and it just felt like when Kevin, you're talking about like the unity, like that was like, that's like America's pastime, our president, and he just gets up and he throws one in. It's like one of those things that is just burned into my mind forever. So another 9/11 related one. And I don't know, is that news or is that sports?
I'd probably say sports.
See, I'd probably say news.
Really? What do you guys think?
Well,
I lean towards sports, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's 50% a first pitch at a game, which is a sports thing. 50% the politician who threw it. I mean, it's like a true toss up. I don't know, Red Ed. I think it's your call, no?
Yeah, there are those moments where sports transcends everything because it's really the watering hole where all the human animals gather. I mean, like people. I just Drew Brees last night at the at the Hall of Fame game, talking about what the first game after Katrina meant to him, and then what winning the Super Bowl meant to that area. So it's in this nexus, you know. I'm sure we're going to come up with a bunch that qualify for this. So you put that, I think that's a wild card. You put that in whatever category you want.
I think of this as more of like the news pop culture moment, and then for sports ones, I have things that like existed in the game. Like it happened.
You know what I would say this? I would say, Chief, like, you know, your grandma who's not a sports fan still saw that and knew about it.
For sure. Yeah.
So in that sense, it probably leans a little more.
I mean, I'm fine if you want to use it as your news.
Yeah, I'm going to use that as news.
Okay.
And to Kevin's point about how everybody came together, that was right after, well, 9 months after, a very contentious, the most contentious presidential election of my lifetime. You probably have to go back to like Jefferson or something to find something comparable. And then when you're attacked, everyone just says, okay, we're in this together. You know, especially at the blue collar people, the kind of people that are going to go to a Yankee game. And at that point, it doesn't matter if you got a D or an R next to your name. It's like, this guy's the commander in chief. He's going to be in charge of the response to this, good or bad. That was a moment.
You know, that moment, we'll move on after this, but that moment, I think, shows the unity from my point of view, because I always remember the story that Derek Jeter handed in the ball and said, you better throw from the mound or they're going to boo you.
Yeah, don't bounce it.
Yeah, what exactly. Yeah. And I hate Derek Jeter. And, you know, I don't hate George Bush, but, you know, war on terror wasn't exactly justified and a bit of a clownish administration. So, but that moment, I'm like, I'm on board with that. So usually I would hate anything Yankees, anything Jeter, any of that, but it kind of transcends all that shit.
Yeah, it was a great moment. And I think like his approval rate, and his approval rating at that point, I think was like high 80s or low 90s, like the unity thing where it's like, all right, this is to Jerry's point, where it's like, did it go to the Supreme Court, that election with the hanging chads and all that, where it was like,
that's how it got settled.
Yeah. And then
it's just funny too, though, that it's like, you got to be smart, you got to be stately, but also like, if you could throw a strike, that's really, you're going to have a lot better, you know.
Right. Throughout human history, to be a leader, you had to be able to ride a horse and lead a battle. Now it's, you got to be able to throw a strike. And I mean, the thing when they had Fauci in front of the Senate,
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I posted the video of him. It was one of the worst attempts at throwing a baseball I've ever seen. And I used to coach like T-ball. And like, I wanted him to say, no Fifth Amendment, explain why you can't lob a baseball 60 feet.
That's what they should have done when he was pleading the fifth. Just be like, why do you throw like a girl? Like,
I don't think it reached the grass. I think it bounced on the mound.
Oh man,
we should have known. Right then. Yeah,
trust
giveaway.
Shit.
You don't have to be a major league pitcher, but if you can't just like throw a ball, I'm out.
All right, it's to me. I'm gonna stay on the news train. A week after 9/11, fucking anthrax came.
Dude, that was crazy too. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Which was obviously a big, I feel like that was almost just as prevalent in the news. Like, all right, here's what's going on with anthrax now. It was kind of crazy how much that was on.
Yeah, because they sent it to like a news anchor, and then
it was to, I think the first one was to the National Enquirer, and then there was an outlet in England, and then I'm pretty sure the New York Post.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure didn't NBC or ABC got
I thought
it
was NBC.
Yeah, Tom Brokaw, the editor of the Post, the editor of the Enquirer, and 2 U.S. senators.
So with Brokaw, it was NBC. So yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And it really felt, especially in the wake of 9/11, and I'm trying not to be flippant here, but it really felt like you're living in a Tom Clancy novel.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he wrote one like where we were in a trade war with like Japan, and a Japanese pilot like slammed his jumbo jet into the Capitol building. And then prior to that, there was just some kind of a disease broke out. And yeah, it was happening every day to the point where the mail stopped for a while, right? They had to figure out how to run the mail through like infrared scanners or to kill whatever activated this anthrax or something. And it coming right after that, it really felt like the end of the world.
Yeah.
And I can't emphasize enough on how nothing happened that summer. I remember there was news stories about saying like this is the quietest summer. Like there was just nothing going on. It was just this weird like void of any news. And then September 11th happened, and it felt like everything happened all at once. Like the answer, like it was just an onslaught. And you're right, Jerry. You felt like your head was spinning the entire rest of the year.
And then that guy, like the one suspect, killed himself years later, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
This is like another thing where it's just like he was never formally prosecuted, and he died by suicide in 2008. So this is just like another one of those things where there's so much going on. We're always on to the next story. It's like we all remember the anthrax letter, but it's like, hey, what the fuck happened
What about
with
that guy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't him. You never found out who sent the letters, but then he mysteriously dies. What the fuck is going on?
I wonder if somebody's it's like 2008, I think it was. Like,
Yeah.
we're getting the internet's about to pop off. Looks like like this story is getting out one way or the other. We got to get rid of this guy now before it's too late. Because why now? All of a sudden,
Yeah. 7 years
the
later.
fact that we just like nope, nobody ever went. No justice for this, and we just moved on is crazy.
Never heard a manifesto. Today the first thing we'd
Right.
say is, what's his online profile? And it seems like so many of these weird shootings or attempted shootings, it's someone who has no online presence. I mean, who has no online presence? At the very least, you've posted pictures on Facebook of your cat taking a nap in a beam of light or something, or here's the dinner that I had out. But no, and this guy was the proto guy that we know nothing about, just his name and that he suicided.
In 20 years, when we're doing the 2024 version of this, and we're gonna be like, wait, that kid that shot Trump didn't have any spoons? what the fuck is going on? What do you mean? Yeah.
Great line.
Kevin, you're up.
I'm gonna keep with the news. I feel this is my thing. I think it's like truly the greatest human interest piece of all time. This is a little supplemental to 9/11. The man in the red bandana, Wells Crowther.
Yeah.
That story, man.
Yeah.
It just I can't even talk about it. I'll get choked up every single time. That family, it's not just him, but his sisters and the way they like told the story and kept it alive and wrote the children's books and just the whole tale. I think it happened in May of that year of like the pieces of it coming together. The mom is just reading the Times and it says there was a red bandana and she's like, oh wait, and then this story has red bandana. And I just can't imagine, you're already grieving, you're already devastated, and then you start to piece together like, wait a minute, my son is an all-time national hero.
Yeah.
And from their storytelling, it's like that was no surprise, volunteer firefighter and that kind of guy. But still, when that comes to fruition, it's got to be absolutely crazy. And then, Boston College has embraced it. I'm going to go to the BC, it's the 25th anniversary, 9/11. So that'll be I'm sure, an absolute scene. And I mean, that story, the interview I did with his family is probably the proudest I've ever been of any of my content. And, that dude was the man. Probably like legitimately would probably work at Barstool if he was still around. He would fit right in with us. So I'll take that as, in such a dark, terrible day. I think that is truly like the most inspirational story. Because you know what it is about it? There's probably more like crazier circumstances, but like that's a real, tangible, inspirational story where I was like, that is just a regular dude. And he found a way to like leave his mark on the world. So, in your everyday walk of life, you can be a Wells Crowther and really affect the world in a good way.
Yeah, it's the living embodiment of that quote that comes out during terrible times from Mr. Rogers of all people, where it's like, when bad things happen, look at the helpers. Don't focus on the people who did the evil. Look at the helpers. And again, the people rushing towards the buildings to, that not knowing if they would ever come out again, not knowing if the towers would collapse, if there would be like another explosion or whatever. And like you said, this wasn't this guy's job. He didn't have training. He just was a human being who gave of himself, left his sacrifice on the altar of freedom, as Lincoln said.
Yeah.
And let me just really quickly summarize it in case people don't know. He was working in the tower, I think on like the 81st floor or something, and helped everyone in his floor get down to the lobby. He made it. He could have walked home scot-free.
Yeah.
and he was like, I'm going to go back up to help people, which is like truly the most selfless thing you can do. And he was wearing this red bandana, so everyone was able to identify him after the fact, and that's the tale of him. Yeah. And yeah, he saved 18 people. Like, it's crazy. And when you think about like the people he saved, I don't know what their ages were, but I'm assuming some of them go on to have their own kids, and they have their kids, and 100 years from now, there's going to be dozens of people that generations of people that owe Wells Crowther. So I think it's the best story I've ever come across.
Yeah, it's one of those I'll always watch every year. So.
Yeah. One of the greatest legacies you can leave as a human. Like the guy woke up, went to work, and was a total hero. Incredible story. Incredible guy.
For no greater love hath a man than to lay down his life to save others.
Jerry.
By the way, I promise this draft is going to get funner and more enjoyable until the next round. Like, don't worry if you're listening.
Yeah, it's like we're getting the news out now.
Yes, and I'm going to try to take 9/11 and pivot to back to the candy store here. The first game back in the NFL after 9/11, so they had the following Sunday off. They go back the Sunday after that. It was then the Meadowlands before MetLife. Patriots at Jets, which begins with the Andruzzi brothers. So Joe Andruzzi had three brothers who had FDNY, one of whom came home afterwards and his family said, "How close were you?" And he just held up two fingers like this. I was this close to. Andruzzi's the guard for the Patriots. He comes out, flags going. They have, like all the rest of the NFL, they had flags the size of the field, unforgettable national anthems, grown men, like 300-pound rage monsters, tears streaming down their face. And then the game begins. And I could have probably gotten this pick later on, but it's like you get the tackle you want is on the board. You don't mess around. You don't trade down. I have to have this or else I don't even belong on this Zoom. Two things happen. One came later in the game where Vinny Testaverde fumbles, Patriots recover. They review it and say, nope, because of the tuck rule, his arm was in motion. The Jets retain the ball.
I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
People love it. I told this to John Gruden at the Super Bowl, and he's like, well, what are you talking about? You ever been punched in the face? I'm like, it's been called before. But early in that game, Drew Bledsoe rolls out. Mo Lewis hits him with a clean hit, severs his aorta. Drew Bledsoe goes back in the huddle later on. Eventually, he's talking nonsense. Off the bench comes his backup, 6th-round pick out of Michigan named Tom Brady. And like the tuck rule, the world would never be the same after that. So, yeah, I had to have that one. Fellas, your thoughts?
Kevin, the floor is yours.
As far as I'm concerned, that is the biggest tragedy of 2001. I mean, the sliding doors, like you can't tell me that there's no version of sports gods or whatever, some sort of kismet that is the New York Jets that are their own, they're the architect of their own demise, leading to Tom Brady. And in the and it's just, oh my God, like if that one moment doesn't happen, how different are all of our lives? This company might not even exist.
I agree. I absolutely
literally, truly. It's crazy.
I was watching that game in my dorm room as a sophomore in college, and it was. I remember telling my buddies like the Patriots are 0-2. I'm like, there's a chance because they were horrible last year. They might not win a game all year, especially when Brady went down. I'm like, who is this Tom Brady guy? Good luck with this. You guys, because I'm a Jets fan. I'm like, you guys are fucked. This is over. And boy, did they make me eat my words the whole, the rest of my life. This sucks.
You guys were probably so happy when Bledsoe got knocked out.
Yeah, you're thinking,
like,
this is great. Franchise quarterback.
Tom Brady,
how are the
Patriots?
Guy? How could they have another franchise quarterback? There's no way.
They already saw.
I did not realize that this was the first game after 9/11.
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
Yeah,
like you're telling me that's not scripted somehow, somewhere.
I mean, I could write a book about this. Oh wait, I have.
Yeah.
But so many things had to fall into place that season. There were just one quick example. There was an overtime game at Buffalo where David Patton catches a ball, gets hit, knocked unconscious, fumbles. but the review showed that his head was touching the sidelines and his ankle was touching the ball. Therefore, it's a dead ball by rule. The Patriots retain possession, kick a field goal. Without that, they don't have a bye week. They don't play the Snow Bowl at Foxborough. On and on and on. But it really all came down to that hit by Lewis. If Bledsoe steps out of bounds or Lewis just gives him a shove or whatever, Brady might have eventually taken over, but no way in time to save that season and in no way in time to win the Super Bowl and then another one 2 years later and then another one after that. And who knows? Maybe he just stays on the bench.
Brady's so undeniable that you're right. Somehow, some way he would have left his mark, but it was like kind of Doctor Strange with the one permutation where it ended in this 7 Super Bowl dynasty might have been he had to take over that day, that week, that way. It's one of the greatest what ifs.
Didn't Bledsoe, like Jerry, didn't he like just sign like a massive extension like the year before? And I think for a long time, I don't think he is anymore. I think he was like top 10 all time in passing yards.
He was a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. He signed the richest contract in NFL history that offseason.
Okay. There you go. Yeah.
I mean, he was kind of Brady. Tall, good looking, handsome, cannon of an arm, big money. It was like he was the guy. And then they have another guy. Crazy.
Yeah. And to the point where when he was finally healthy, and again, testament to him that you get your aorta split, you're bleeding internally, and you're ready to start another NFL game like less than 2 months later. It was a major raging controversy in New England about whether he should get his job back. And, Bledsoe's so salty about it to this day that he was making jokes about it at the Brady roast. And Belichick, to his credit, stuck to his guns. And that game, the following game where Bledsoe was healthy standing on the sidelines, Brady went off. And I said, I'm sold. I'm sold on this guy. With the pressure of the world, the richest player in NFL history staring daggers at him. He went out and he threw for like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and no picks. And I said, I'm never looking back. It's
and then he won the
next pick, Jerry.
Bledsoe,
Let's keep moving.
Bledsoe won the AFC Championship, right? Didn't he have to come in that game?
He did. Yeah, Bledsoe came off the bench and threw the only offensive touchdown they scored the whole game. It was just, to your credit, to your point, Kevin, it just felt like a weird fate, that all had to happen. Okay. All right.
It was weird.
Yeah. My next pick, I'm going pop culture, and this is one I had to have too. 2001 saw the launch of the greatest movie series of all time, the greatest trilogy for sure, the greatest fictional novel ever written, and that is Lord of the Rings. I had to have it. I read that book in middle school. It made an imprint on me. My whole life, I wanted to see what this would look like on a screen, to the point where I've watched like terrible, cheaply made like animated versions. Like there was like one when I was in high school. It was just, it's unwatchable to this day. And Peter Jackson comes out with this thing right around Christmas of that year, just when everybody needed something to like latch onto. And it was cinema magic to this point where to this day, I watch it constantly. I watch scenes from it. I watch reviews of it. I listen to the music from it, and I'm not alone. I watched it with family, some of whom had the same reaction to the novels that I did, some of whom knew nothing about it, and we all walked out of the theater saying, holy shit, what did we just witness? That's unbelievable. And then the series just got better as it went along. So thank you for allowing me to nerd out on that as well, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the pick. That's the movie pick for sure.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a blind spot for me. I keep meaning to go back and watch it. I've never seen more than maybe 15 minutes of it. So I need to do it. I want to do it. I was kind of like a no fantasy genre guy until Game of Thrones, and that kind of changed my perspective on it.
I saw this in theaters in January for the 25th anniversary.
Sick.
Yeah, it was good. I definitely wouldn't have appreciated it when I was 11 in 2001, so I definitely wouldn't have appreciated it then. But.
I mean, I guess you do got to be nerdy, but, I read the books and, like, I'm into that shit, and it's, it's like the Odyssey. It's one of those, like, defining hero's journey type shows. So, I mean, maybe I'm, maybe you guys disagree, but I thought that was, like, the clear movie pick.
I think Yeah.
I hate Lord of the Rings. I hate it. It's people walking in the woods. It's so boring. I hate Lord of the Rings.
Bro,
But
you
it-
can do
but
that with
it-
every movie ever. You can be reductive like that.
But I really do not like Lord of the Rings. But it was a giant sensation. I mean, they all three got nominated for Best Picture. Third one won. I cannot argue its success or its pop culture relevance. I personally hate those movies.
Well, see, even if you take the nerdiness out of it, let's say, you forget that it's got magic and wizards and the talk of dragons or whatever. If you just take it as men on a mission, friendships and rivalries and, a guy, this innocent guy, it's a more grand and vast version of Star Wars, whereas just this nobody is tasked with this massive responsibility to try and save the universe, and he does, and it's manly as shit. It really is. There's some strong female characters in there, but I made a guy movie list with my buddies one time, a podcast series, and I demanded that we get a Lord of the Rings on there, and there was some anti-nerd guys too, but see it from that perspective, Clement. Give it another shot, and
I've given it many shots.
Okay.
I am out on Lord of the Rings, but it is. You're absolutely. If you say what was the biggest movie of that year, that still has relevance today, that probably is the best.
You ever read the books, Klemmer?
Oh, I hate the books. My dad loved the books. He tried to get me to read them. I can't stand them. Wow. It's like I said, I'm at the point now where I realize it's a me thing. Most people love it, so I'm clearly acknowledge that.
Hey, Klemmer,
yeah, you know what, Klemmer? Most of your shit is a you thing.
That's right fair. That's right fair. Not gonna argue that.
You're a big movie guy too, Klemmer. Would you agree it's kind of a weird movie year?
It's not a good movie year.
Yeah.
2000, 2001, I think are pretty weak.
Yeah.
It's not a very good movie year.
So I don't necessarily disagree with you, Kevin. I think there's another big one that I guess could compete with that, and I guess it's kind of in the same vein. I'm sure someone will draft it, so I won't say it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I won't say it. But all right, so Jerry, you go sports and movie out of the gate. All right, I like it.
On brand.
Kevin.
I am struggling here. I have plenty to pick from, but I'm just wondering what I take now. I'm gonna go with. I'll go with my sports moment now. There's a couple different directions, but again, being 9/11, being the New York guy, being 2001, I'm gonna go Mike Piazza's home run. I was gonna go with more of just a general sports story like Patriots. There's a bunch of others to pick from, but sports moment to me, that home run is. Maybe it's just the Mets fan in me, but I can hear the call. I can see the ball going up the tower, the cameraman. It is, it put the city on its back. For that moment, everybody was a Mets fan, which is something cool that I never got to experience. Where usually we're the ones celebrating and we're all alone. But this was everybody thought that moment was awesome. It's a colossal home run from the guy on the Mets. I think it was the first sporting event period. Was that before right? It was the
first one in New York. Yeah.
Right.
First
First
game they came back. Yeah.
Right. So first thing in New York, and you get that, I think an 8th inning home run against the Braves. It was meaningful too.
Yep.
So that's the one for me.
And the circumstances of that, was it a go-ahead home run? Was it?
I think, or tied it. Was it Klemmer? Well, let me see.
I thought it was tied.
Yeah.
Put him ahead. I could be wrong. It was off Steve Carsey, right?
Yep. And you know what I love about it is Howie Rose's. It was 3-2. Yeah, they gave him a 3-2 lead in the 8th inning over the Braves, and it was that is for a Mets fan, a late inning, beat the Braves, colossal home run. And I just remember Howie Rose's call, Klemmer. He was like, "This one has a chance back at the track," and it was like a 500-foot home run. He smashed it, and I think Howie, if I'm correct, said he didn't want to botch it, and he was a little nervous about it, so he hedged his bet. But as far as a singular sports moment, for something that's not a playoff game, a championship, it probably is the best regular season sports moment I can think of.
Yeah,
it's up there, man.
Yeah.
Certainly for the in Mets history, if you just want to isolated that, certainly. It's you can't have the Mets history be played and not have that in the highlight reel, and you really can't have a year of 2001 that highlights of that year and not have that in the highlight reel. You can't.
The Yankees kind of go on in 9/11, and that's a big part of it. But being the first back and being a Mets fan, that singular moment has a special spot
for sure. Okay, it's to me. I'm gonna take the first miscellaneous. Apple releases the iPod.
Mhm.
I was going to take that too.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a juggernaut. I always tell this story. I wanted an iPod. It wasn't the first year, maybe the second or third year, but I asked for an iPod for Christmas, and my dad bought me a Dell Pocket DJ. So I still give him shit about it to this day, but he said he talked to someone about how that was going to be like a better product or whatever.
Wrong.
Yeah, so I was just a fucking loser.
Yeah, there was also the Zune
Yes.
MP3 player
Yeah.
that was like supposed to rival it. It absolutely did not. The first iPod is one of like the most important things I've ever owned. I had like the thick one that had the wheel and the 4 buttons.
Yeah.
They got rid of the buttons pretty quickly and went right to the wheel. But the OG with the buttons, it had like a silver back. It was like this thick. If I had a genie, one of my wishes, I would wish to have that old iPod back, just strictly for the library I had on there.
Yeah.
All of like the fake songs that you can't get anymore, like remixes and blends and all that sort of shit, reference tracks, unreleased. I had so much good. I mean, that was like a holy grail to me. That changed the world, man.
Yeah, if you grew up in the world post iPod, you can't imagine how much space music took up in your life. I mean, physical cubic feet of room, whether it was, the rack of cassettes on the wall, like the center console of your car is like stuffed with cassettes, and albums still hadn't really disappeared at that point. They were mostly replaced by CDs, but you had to have the CD tower. And then that thing comes along, and it was really hard to wrap your brain around. Wait, all this fits into this.
Yeah,
so cool.
I honestly think it's something that younger people would have a hard time understanding than like 9/11.
I mean,
Yeah, I have no idea.
I had binders of
Yeah.
CDs and like burned CDs, and like you would just be like, oh, what do we want to listen to in the car? And you just like flip through all the pages, like the same thing you would keep like your sports cards in, but it was just like pages and pages of CDs.
Like before
Dude,
this
you guys
was a
remember-
phone, this was a thing where you just listen to music on and you couldn't do anything else.
And you could like bring music. Remember, we used to have the Discman, and you would bring the Discman with you. It would skip all the time. Like,
If your CD scratched at all, you couldn't play
it was just constantly skipping. It's a CD. You can't bring it with you. And to go from that to the iPod was like life changing.
I mean, if you're really old, I was rocking that yellow and gray Sony cassette Walkman.
Oh,
you know that one?
Like that was better because it didn't skip.
It was because it didn't skip. It didn't skip. You're right.
CD, the Discman was horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it was like cool because you could, but it never really worked. You had it in the car; it would always skip.
Go over a bump and it would. Oh, it's a nightmare.
But all that, I will say, I miss a good old 6-disc CD changer stereo with the rotating tray, and like I had the cassette, the cassette adapter you put into the tape deck of your car, and you could play things. Like there's some cool technology prior to the iPod that just smoked it out. And then you think about the iPod becomes, the iPod Nano Touch, eventually the iPhone, like it was the beginning of all of that. So I think prior to that, I had a Motorola Sliver. Was that before? That was probably after? I don't know. I guess it had to be after. Yeah, that was way after. But the idea, once it became music and the phone, it was like, oh my God, we are living in the future, man.
Possibly no company has ever overpromised and then still managed to over-deliver the way they did. I mean, that iconic Steve Jobs, TED Talk looking thing that he did, where he's talking about the iPhone. It's going to change your world, the way you interact with existence in the universe, and you're going to, you'll never be the same. He was right.
He was right.
Yeah, I kind of wonder.
How many people say that shit and then never deliver?
Yeah.
It's like, imagine doing something so influential, the world is never the same because of you. There's very few people that can say like that on that level. That's crazy.
Yeah, like I kind of wonder, like, I'm sure there's some type of fucking Apple historian out there. And I know obviously the MacBook and the iMac and the iPhone has like sold more iPods, but I wonder if the iPod was more pivotal towards like the company in general.
I mean, I wonder if you can even afford the R&D for the iPhone without the success of the iPod.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like a real sliding doors moment.
Yeah.
Chief, you're up.
I think I'm going to go sports, and there's so I feel like a lot of these are so even. All right, I'm going to go with Barry Bonds' home run chase for 73. Yep. And another thing that, like, you had to live through it, but, like, the live cut-ins for his at-bats when he was getting close, didn't matter what you were watching on ESPN, like, all right, we're going live to San Francisco, and he's hitting one into the bay, and like, the people out there with the kayaks catching it. It was such a huge story and moment, and everyone kind of knew he was fucking juiced out of his skull, but it was still, like, his at-bats were just like the world kind of stopped. At least if you were my age and you were just like a kid in school, you didn't have like a job. Like you would, like I would get home and like that was like the first thing that you were checking, or you're watching a different game late at night and they would either do picture in picture or just go live to San Francisco. But still the record, whether people like to admit it or not, the greatest baseball player who ever lived. And that home run chase, it's just burned into my mind. Yeah.
I mean, 73 is like
nuts.
Also, what I don't think the kids could wrap their heads around is that Barry Bonds saw like one pitch per game.
Yeah.
He would hit a fucking home run.
Yeah.
You know, like when people are rightfully so afraid of Aaron Judge, and you look at the intentional walks numbers and the way he was pitched to, and it's like not even close. Like there's just no comparable example, and yet he still somehow managed to hit 7.
They would intentionally walk him with the bases loaded.
With the loaded,
yeah. So
and they were right to do
correct.
So. That's what's crazy. It's like that's smart, sound managing. And you know what's funny? I mean, that's obviously just because of steroids, of course. But it's weird that there's like every other sport keeps getting bigger, better, more. Like, and then baseball, like, you know, because of steroids getting banned, it's like. It's not the same. You just can't understand what it was like if you didn't live through the steroid era of just the fact that, like, what does Sammy Sosa have, like 4, 5, 60 home run seasons or something?
Yeah, I think he's got 4 of them.
It's like even the guys who don't have the records, you know, you don't think about how many guys hit 55, 58, 62 because it was like it was just nuts.
I saw this.
There were two things that made this not a big deal though. A big deal as you might think. First off, 3 years earlier, we had a true home run chase with Sosa McGuire that was everywhere, and people really cared about that. People didn't care about this the same way. The other thing was the games run so late because Bonds is in San Francisco. A lot of people didn't. I want to say when he broke the record, it was after 11 o'clock at night. I could be wrong about it. I want to say it was. I remember watching my dorm. It was very late. Like this just didn't have the same. Pardon the pun, like the same juice as the one in 98 did.
Yeah, I
people also
hated
that. Barry. That's why.
Yeah.
But Sammy Sosa was like a cartoon character. Big Mac was like a comic book hero. And then Barry Bonds was an asshole.
The Sosa thing, like we were living here. So like that was like we were entrenched in it. I've told this story, but there was like an old farmhouse on my bus route home. And the Cubs played a lot of more day games back then than they do now. And like you would be driving, 3 o'clock or whatever, and someone was keeping a tally with big spray paint on the side of the.
That's awesome.
So you'd be like, oh, he got 47. Oh, the 2 days later, he's up to 50. And it was like, that's how like we found out at school because there was no like real internet. So you would find out by like everybody would like crowd to that side of the bus as you're going by that barn to see if he hit one while you were in school. But like the Bonds thing, I just remember being like the picture in picture or the live cutaway, and then being like, I loved Baseball Tonight as a show when I was a kid.
Oh yeah,
and just like Kirkchin and Buster Olney and you're just Gammons and like you were staying up because you wouldn't stay up for the whole game, but you would like they would be following that and tracking it. And I like the Bond 73 to me of that year. I think there are a lot of I didn't want to take one from Jerry, but I think that there were a lot of like iconic things that happened that year, and this to me has a slight edge over the other ones.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, it's one thing that you also set the record for slugging. That's just math.
Yeah.
But he also set the record for bases on balls, to Kevin's point. Like he was lucky to get one pitch to hit a game and he never missed it. And yet he was like the skunk at America's lawn party. Like we just adored McGuire and Sosa so much. Oh, because Barry Bonds is on roids. Like, oh really? Oh, he's on roids.
But the other guys were super clean.
Exactly.
Could you imagine, Jerry, if he was a likable guy.
Yeah.
Like he would probably be. I mean, he'd be like a modern day Babe Ruth, where it's like a baseball Americana, and our baseball guy, our American guy, hit 73 home runs, but he was just like such a fucking asshole.
Yeah, dude, the
I
presence.
always go back to something that Sean McDonough says, and Sean McDonough has done virtually every sport you can do, from bobsledding to college football, whatever. And he once said, "I don't know who the second second worst person I've ever covered was, but it's Barry Bonds number one for sure." And that was just it. He's just unpopular. I bet I see him in interviews and I go, I feel like I could have a beer with that guy. And I don't care. While we've been talking, I invented 30 new ways to not give a shit that he was on the juice. He was hitting home runs off of guys who were on the juice. It was the juice era. There's probably still a juice era. They've just improved the technology on, masking agents or whatever. But yeah, you look at that section of his baseball reference page, and it's all just bold-faced numbers.
Yeah.
Stars and boldface. Yep.
Yeah.
And the only reason he did steroids, if you read Game of Shadows, was he watched the 98 chase and was like, fuck this. This is bullshit. Like, I'm getting screwed here. I might as well jump in.
Like he hit 54 clean,
He was a 3-time MVP, and he should have won 4 straight, but they gave it to Terry Pendleton, who had like 85 RBIs just because the Braves won and they were like everybody's darling, and because he was unpopular. But it shouldn't be about personality. It should be about what you did, and he did everything you could ever ask of him.
I also wonder sometimes if he played today, I wonder if he would benefit or even suffer even more from like the podcast era. Because there are definitely times where I'm like, I think that guy was an absolute asshole to the media, and they wrote him as such. And we didn't you just went off of
what they
sports
said.
articles, you know? And if I saw Barry Bonds in like a podcast being like, that dude is a beat reporter who has like an axe to grind against me because of this, that, and the other, I might have been like, you know what? Like, he's not really the problem. Or maybe he would just be that much of an asshole.
He was an asshole. He was an asshole to everyone that worked for the teams too, though. He was always like, to the little guy, he was like an asshole. So he was an asshole to everyone. So I don't know if that would help him. I don't
might
know.
make it worse.
Last couple things on this from me. The Sosa in particular, I remember this. They were in his locker because they found like Andro in McGuire's locker, and they asked Sosa, they're like, "Are you taking anything?" He's like, "Oh, I take Flintstone vitamins with my kid." It was like, okay, bro. And then I was watching a podcast clip. I think this was actually maybe about the Aaron, when he was chasing down Hank Aaron's record, but he was like, I don't want to break it and tie it in the same game. So he just went up, smashed one to tie, and then he had hit for singles the rest of the day. And then he's like, I want to break it at home, so I'm not going to hit one for 4 days. And then it was like his first pitch at his first home game back, gone into the bay. And it was just like the guy was such a freak and incredible, like steroids aside. Like Jerry said, everybody was doing it. He was just so much better and more talented at that time.
There's another guy I think is kind of hard to explain to people who haven't seen him.
Yeah.
Like just those cut-ins with that big-ass elbow guard and the dangly earring. Just
Got
fucking
a little bit of that Sheffield.
hitting it to the moon, dude.
Yeah.
Klemmer, you're up real quick before you go. I want to talk about Modelo. Listen, at the core is a simple human truth. Beer tastes better when you've earned it. Somehow it tastes colder, bolder, richer. Listen, any Modelo tastes good, but it tastes even better after you've had to push through something. A flavor only fighters get to savor. From long shifts to responsibilities that don't clock out, we celebrate the effort it takes to chase something meaningful. Modelo shows up not to mark the occasion, but to honor what it took to get there. The beer is the reward waiting on the other side of the effort. We are thrilled to be partnered with Modelo right now. So they're just on board, and I'm excited to ride out the summer with Modelo.
Yeah, so I moved last weekend, and like one of the first things I did after I like took a breath is just go up to the roof, crack a Modelo. I've got some right here.
There you go.
Another great white iconic can. The bottles are great too. I think it's like the number one beer in America right now is Modelo. So Modelo, absolute best.
Shout out to Modelo. Go stock up now. All right, Klemmer, what do you got?
All right. I'm gonna take a sports pick with my next one. It's the Diamondbacks winning that World Series. Basically that play. Louis Gonzalez finally taking. Remember, the Yankees have won the last 3 World Series. It's almost like kind of like how we look at the Dodgers now is how we look at the Yankees then. and you have Mariano Rivera on the mound. It just felt like the Yankees were going to win their 4th in a row. And as someone who hates the Yankees, it was just devastating. And then to have Luis Gonzalez kind of flick that ball just into the outfield, unbelievable moment. And it was still to this day the Diamondbacks' only World Series win. But yeah, Diamondbacks, that moment is incredible.
And that whole World Series was
Awesome.
unbelievable.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Young Kim, Scott Brocious.
Jeter.
Alfonso Soriano hit one of the greatest home runs of all time that just got forgotten about because it got erased, like an inning later.
Yeah.
But Schilling and Randy Johnson. I mean, I think it was Miguel Batista was their other starter, and it was like, you're going to lose all those other games. But if we can just keep getting to Clemens.
We just need 4 starts from Schilling and Randy. Yeah.
And then when Randy came in relief, I was like, in Game 7, it was like, oh, my God, it was so badass. And, dude, being in New York on 9/11, wholeheartedly rooting against the Yankees was not only one of the most villainous things I've ever done, but not even for one split second did I consider otherwise. Like, people used to ask me, like, did you root for them on 9/11? Like, it would be understandable if you did. And I was like, absolutely not. No. I don't know what that says about me, but I remember, dude, that base knock from Luis Gonzalez, Tony Womack scores.
Yeah.
And I jumped off my couch and I just did a head first slide, and I got a rug burn on my forehead. My mom, my brother, my whole family was jumping on top of me. And I was like, yo, we are pieces of shit right now.
Yeah, Kevin, it says a lot about you, but it doesn't make you special because, I bet all 5 of us on this felt exactly the same way. And you want to root for, there was no fan base whatsoever for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Off the top of my head, I can't even tell you whether they were expansion team or whether they moved from somewhere else. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It would have been anyone other than the Yankees, in spite of 9/11, which I guess is a tribute to the Yankees, how good they were then and how much we hate them, whatever. And am I not mistaken that Schilling and Johnson shared the Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year back when that was?
Right. Yeah.
Jerry, it was only their 4th year of existence. The Diamondbacks. How crazy is that?
That's insane.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Randy Johnson's another one that's hard to describe to the kids.
Yeah.
It's like 374 strikeouts or whatever. I mean, he was
6'11". Yeah.
Freak.
Yeah.
Absolutely freak.
And just such a physical specimen that I think he had 3 starts in the series and still came out of the bullpen. And I don't recall him ever having arm problems after that. It's not like he ever, Chris Sale did that for the Sox in 2018 and hardly ever recovered from it. He kind of took one for the team, but with Johnson, he was just a freak of nature.
Yeah. I mean, we saw Yamamoto last year, and Madison Bumgarner has done it too, but it's a pretty small group, pretty select group.
Yeah. I also got to say, I'm so happy the Diamondbacks ended up winning, because otherwise we would have heard about Mr. November. Because that even as a Yankee hater, and I do this with the Patriots as well, my job and my talent, my art, if you will, is to find a way to spin any of even the most positive, cool thing and make it negative. And when the World Series went into November because of the 9/11 delay, and they called him Mr. November, I was like, that is fucking awesome. I don't know how I'm going to spin this one, man. Thank God they just didn't win it, and that kind of faded off, because that would have been, I've been hearing that forever, man.
Yeah, it's not enough that I succeed. Others must also fail.
Yes.
Or else I'll never be truly happy.
I think his gum sold for an insane amount of money. What he spit out after he hit it. It was probably my favorite World Series outside of the one.
Yeah. And the infield was in.
Yeah.
And he barely got a piece of it. Should have been a routine out, and it's like one.
I don't know. Maybe a better defensive shortstop would have got the job done. I don't know.
A little more range.
Yeah. Klemmer, you're up again.
I'm gonna take a movie, and I'm gonna take. I know there's one out there that's maybe a bigger sensation, but I'm not gonna be honest to myself if I don't take Ocean's 11. Ocean's 11 it's just such a cool movie, such a fun movie, and such a perfect movie of its time, but also it's ageless. That's kind of bizarre to say, but you have all these really interesting, great actors, kind of all at their peak, all in this movie together. Soderbergh's just throwing 98 on the black. It's just awesome to watch. I don't know. This movie kind of does it all for me. It's probably one of my 25, 30 movies of all time. So I have to take Ocean's 11. I love this movie.
It's a great one. I mean,
I've never seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, really?
Chief, you got some work to do, dog.
I know.
It's not quite like you have to see that movie because it's just a entertaining. You know what I mean? Like at the heart, movies are designed to entertain you, and that movie is just fucking entertaining like the whole way through. So
Yeah,
I'll support that pick. I like it.
Clemmer, you picked the perfect word for it. It's cool. Like, is it the most clever of all time? No, but what it is, and you can't define cool, but it's a style, it's an aesthetic, it's really attractive people in really attractive settings, well dressed and doing interesting things, and it's such a throwback. Again, it's quite literally a throwback since the original was like Sinatra and Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. and they were just friends who said, "Eff it, let's just do a movie where we hang and we're just being friends and we do cool things." And then Clooney comes along and does the exact same thing with Julia Roberts and Pitt, and they even throw in some old guys in there like Matt Damon and
got Carl Reiner's in it. Like it's Don Cheadle's in it. The cast is crazy.
Elliot Gould.
There should be like every 30 years we have to remake it, and you get to see who the cool crop of every generation is.
I completely agree.
Who would be today? It'd be like Danny Ocean would be like clavicular or some shit running.
Yeah, Chalamet in there, and or Pattinson hopefully would pop in. It'd be fun.
Yeah. I almost think that it might be still the same cast, but maybe you have Leo in there too. But Clooney's still cool. Brad Pitt's still
that
cool.
Longevity.
Yeah,
Matt Damon's still cool.
Let's go.
Actually, now that you mention it, they're all still probably the best looking people in Hollywood, unless you want to throw in like a Ryan Reynolds or Pattinson for sure. Give me Ana de Armas as the next generation or something. But we don't churn out movie stars, like not actors, but movie stars the way we did then. And I'm happy to mention that a lot of them were pretty much right around my age. So there we go.
Your whole generation apparently doesn't age.
You guys just stop. You plateau. Klemmer, it also gave birth to the national treasure that is Ocean's 8. That was an all-time classic. So
that's a must. Yeah,
we got to give credit.
Thank God that exists. I hate my pick already after hearing that.
Chief, you're up.
I'll go movie. I'll take Shrek. I feel like Shrek gave birth to obviously a long series. It had to be picked. Our guy White Sox Dave, Shrek aficionado, not here to take it, but I feel like it has to be on the board, so I'll take Shrek.
Yeah, it was the first time that a movie that good, a computer animated movie that good, came out by any studio other than Pixar.
Yeah,
and it holds up. It's the classic cliche of something that you can watch with your kids and not be bored out of your mind. It's legitimately funny. One of the all-time great vocal performances in any animated movie ever is Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, the donkey. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the thing about it, though. It's unbelievable, but every time I watch it, the only thought I have going through my head is imagine if it was Farley. Because as good as Mike Myers did, there's always this version in my head that's just like, I mean, that man was Shrek. Like he was literally Shrek. So and I guess what Mike Myers was like, I'm just gonna run back, fat bastard, or whichever. Which one came first?
I think
Austin Powers came first.
Yeah. So which is fine. It's a great character, but I do always think, what if it was Farley? That'd be awesome.
But he wasn't in it till Goldmember, right?
No, he was definitely in the
Fat Bastard.
Fat Bastard was definitely in the second one.
He did a Scottish character on SNL.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, it was like, I think it was a takeoff on his own dad. It was like, if it's not Scottish, it's crap.
Yeah.
And I think he said, well, screw it. I'll just dust off that old accent. I'm comfortable doing it. And I mean, it added something to it, but it was much more the parody of the genre and, fairy tales in general and a deconstruction. John Lithgow was great as the villain. It's that was definitely on my list, and I'm just going to disagree with something we said earlier at the beginning of this. Klemmer, you said it wasn't a great year for movies. I think as we complete our list, we're going to live some pretty good ones on the.
I don't like Shrek either, so maybe I'm a one. But I think Shrek.
I can understand not liking Lord of the Rings if you're not into nerd shit. Like, what can you find out about? about Shrek that you don't like?
I just don't think it's funny. Like, but it also came out. Got to remember, like, well, we're all older here, so usually I'm having this argument with younger people. But like, came out when I was 21. Like, Shrek just never appealed to me. But I wasn't. It wasn't supposed to appeal to me.
Yeah, but as a movie guy, Klemmer, you have to kind of respect. Like, DreamWorks hadn't found its thing yet. Like, Toy Story was so huge for Pixar. Their first 5, I just looked it up. DreamWorks had Ants, which got crushed by A Bug's Life, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
The Prince of Egypt, The Road to El Dorado, Chicken Run, and then Joseph, King of Dreams, and then Shrek.
Yeah.
So,
you're absolutely right. Yeah. DreamWorks really could have, closed up animation shop any time, and to have Shrek come out was huge for them. No, you're not, Eddie. From the business perspective, you're absolutely right.
yeah.
Klemmer, I'll give you some grace on this because I had the benefit of a beard in the form of young kids that I could take to see these things and not be like weird about it. But yeah, when you don't have kids and you're an adult, animated movies are an absolute cultural blind spot for you. And I was thrilled that my kids grew up in an era of these Pixar movies and Shrek and things like that. Because when I was a kid, it was just trash. Disney was at its lowest point. I mean, good kids movies were like Bedknobs and Broomsticks and Night on Bald Mountain. You won't even recognize these names. With
Bedknobs and Broomsticks is a banger. Don't talk shit on that one.
Compare it to Toy Story 3, and then we'll compare. But yeah, it was the best we had. My poor sister had to take me to see this mediocre slop that I thought was cool until I grew up. And so yeah, I give you credit on that, Klemmer. But you're mistaken about Shrek. It's
okay.
Very clever script and well done.
All right, it's to me. There's a couple sports, but I think all the big ones are gone.
I disagree with that.
Well, there's one that I refuse to acknowledge that ever happened.
Okay.
So that makes things hard.
I think I know what that one is.
To me, it's just something that just never existed.
I don't think that's in like the top 5 or 6.
You don't think so?
No.
Interesting. And then I'm going to go movies here. There's so many movies that are like some of my favorites of all time, but I've covered these ad nauseum on this podcast, so I'm not going to go with one of those. I'm just going to take a genuinely good one. Denzel wins Best Actor. I'm going to take Training Day.
Yeah.
Sure.
King Kong ain't got shit on me. Like, so many good quotes. Ethan Hawke was fantastic as well.
Really good Ethan Hawke performance.
Yeah. Well, definitely one of the more memorable original screenplays from that year.
I didn't know you like to get wet is one of my favorite scenes ever. Just letting someone smoke PCP unknowingly is some badass shit.
Yeah, Denzel's on a short list of guys who, if he has a bad movie in his curriculum vitae, it's just like a mulligan. I don't know. I think he made some Christmas one with Whitney Houston, whatever. But everything he does is a banger. And when you have a career like his, and that's your signature moment, that tells you that movie transcends the
great point.
All genres. It was unlike anything that ever came out. A cop that was just that straight up evil, but he's still like the protagonist of.
Yeah, that was
probably one root for him.
In the golden era of the TV anti-heroes, that's one of the better movie anti-heroes out there.
True.
Where it was like, this guy is a bad piece of shit, but you're rooting for Alonzo Harris.
Yeah.
Oh, one of the great villain performances of the century. Like, full stop. Like, and you're right, Jerry. Like, think about how many Academy Awards Denzel's won in like his career. That might be his signature moment, right? Like his signature move. Like, that's the last thing to play.
Signature line for sure.
Yeah, that's his signature role. Like, when you think Denzel, the first thing I think of is Training Day.
Really? I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Gladiator 2.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I'd forgotten about Gladiator 2. He's got that's not a, he doesn't get a mulligan for that. That's
that was
just grabbing a paycheck.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I would say, that and his 1A, his 1B is Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
And then you go back to like Glory or whatever, but he's just never given a bad performance, even in a terrible movie like Gladiator 2.
Kevin, you're up.
I guess I'll call this like a fad, or I'll put this under miscellaneous or something. Jackass. The Jackass, like,
Oh, wow.
Jackassification of the world. I think there are two things that I think are like the funniest thing, funniest culture ever. I won't say the other one because it might get drafted, but it's right around the same time. And Jackass is one of them. I mean, watching Jackass for the first time, watching the shopping carts, watching him torture his parents, and what, like, it became a TV show that it was like kind of like Chappelle's Show in a way, where it was like must see. We all watched it, and then everyone was doing it. You know, the disclaimer at the beginning, like "Don't try this at home," was like a real one. To me, it still to this day plays when I see Jackass type content. I'll laugh at that from now until the end of time. It's timeless. It's stupid. It's sophomoric, but it's also in a weird way. I think they're like brilliant because they were so creative with it and they would really risk it. You know, there's some daredevils and then there's like the Steve-O's of the world. So, and that changed. I mean, those guys are multi-decade superstars now because of that. So I think it really had an impact. And nobody else has really replicated it, you know, other than like just idiots on the internet. So I think that was like a revolution almost. And that became a huge piece of like MTV culture and content.
MTV at that era was just.
Yeah. The only channel you needed, like
honestly,
if there was a channel draft, it was like you only get one channel. I'll take that one, man. It was because of shows like that, and then they did Wild Boys, where they were out in the wild with the animals. Like,
I don't remember that one.
Oh, it was Pontius and Steve-O specifically. Okay. The other guys were in it, but they would go do like, we're gonna like swim with alligators and fight hippos and crazy shit like that. And it's just primal base level laughter. Like, he got hit in the nuts, he got hit in the face. That just always plays for me.
You know, a few days ago was the anniversary of MTV first going on cable in like 1981, which made me remember like that was the early days of cable, and it was a given. It was just an automatic that when whatever you were watching goes to commercial, you flip to MTV. It was just, and then the last channel button, truly one of the underrated inventions of all time, came on. Huge. And it was just reflexive. It was Pavlovian. And that's the final out. And you just would flip to, but that was music video. So for me personally, by the time Jackass came out, I wasn't consuming that content. You know, it was skewed way too young for me. But like Klemmer said about Shrek and Lord of the Rings, there's no question in the impact of it. It's 25 years later, and those guys are still not only churning out content, but they're all like famous, one word name famous.
Yes. And, even down to like Wee Man, the guys who aren't like superstars. I'm still like, I know who that guy is because I watched him do. I mean, when Brad Pitt did the movie, Brad Pitt was willing to run around Japan with those guys in a fucking panda costume. Like, those guys reached levels, man, especially at a time.
It was awesome.
You know, imagine if they did that now with the internet and it was the first time we had all seen that. Like, they would have been even bigger stars. But to do it back then, that was real tangible influence.
I was in college, and like, think about it, in college, you're not really watching a lot of TV, right? You're bouncing around doing a million different things. We would all stop. There's a point in television. We'd go watch Jackass. Yeah. Like, that was like, we would really be like rolling on the floor laughing so hard. We couldn't breathe. You were laughing so hard. Yep. That really was like for people in their teens and 20s, it was like a cultural like moment.
Dude, Phil and April, Don Vito. Oh. I mean, like, these are my family members. They're the best.
All right. Jackass. Jerry.
Okay. I'm going back to back here, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go with one that it's news, but it's not going to be remembered, but it was the biggest story of 2001 until. And if there's one guy who could have like semi-found like a silver lining in the cloud that was 2001, it was a congressman by the name of Gary Condit.
You know?
So he had an intern working for him named Chandra Levy, who, as they say, turned up missing. Her family tried to investigate what happened with her. This story was huge. This was 10 times the coverage of Savannah Guthrie's mother turning up missing. And it came out slowly that the two of them were having at it, that he had been boning her. She like sent a message to her family, disappeared. All her stuff was there. She didn't take anything with her, didn't have a wallet with her, didn't have a watch or whatever. And then 9/11 happens and it just disappeared. Absolutely never. And years later, they never actually charged him. There was a big investigation. His career was ruined. Like the next time he was up for election, they bounced him right out. they've charged somebody. I'm looking this up here. Named Ingmar Gwandqui. I have no idea how to pronounce that. He was found guilty in 2010. So it took 9 years to bring him to justice. Then he got a new trial 5 years later and was released. He was here illegally, ended up getting deported, but we still to this day don't know who killed her. But a congressman's side piece working on his staff was
Just disappeared.
Kidnapped and murdered. That story would have gone on for years if it wasn't for the whole world falling apart.
I mean, Gary Condit, in deep, dark parts that he doesn't want to admit, probably when he saw 9/11 happen, he was probably like, that's the only thing. Gary Condit might have done 9/11 as far as I'm concerned, just to get the story up to that page.
Yeah,
Gary Condit had horrible luck and great luck. Yeah. So horrible luck, where I mentioned earlier, the summer before 9/11, nothing happened. So all anyone talked about the entire summer was Gary Condit and Chandler Levy. That's all you heard about. It was on every magazine cover, front page for an entire summer. And then, like Jerry said, 9/11 happens, and Gary Condit was in the dustbin of history. Like, you never heard of him again. And it really was. It was crazy, like how that story dominated the summer. It was bizarre.
I mean, to quote the great Marshall Mathers, he said, "How can one Chandra be so Levy?" I mean, when you have rappers rapping about this, it reached levels in the pop culture zeitgeist for sure.
And the thing is, even then, we weren't like these doe-eyed innocents. It's not like we suddenly just discovered that unattractive people who get power, that DC is Hollywood for ugly people. Like, that was common knowledge. We all knew that. But with this guy, like you said, it was a slow news week. Let's dial in on this. And also, like, a young woman was missing. I think to this day, we just have the one picture of her. I can. Yep. It's burned into my memory.
Oh, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Today there'd be hours of her, like, or TikTok content or whatever. But for then, it was just this deepening mystery, and somehow it ruined his career. But he didn't do anything other than touch the help, which they all seem to.
I gotta look into this. I do not remember this at all.
I have like faint memories of this. Yeah.
All right, Jerry, you're up again.
Okay, this one is going to be something that is lasting and enduring to this day. I'm going with TV.
So you need a miscellaneous, right, Jerry? You need a miscellaneous.
This is my miscellaneous.
Got you.
Because this counts as like a trend, really, in that the greatest single season of television in history, Band of Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll argue that with anyone. There have been great series that had a good run, but this one, front to back, 10 episodes, every one of them a minor masterpiece, and every one of them cinematic. It launched the careers of scores of really good actors that are known to this day, Damian Lewis and Livingstone, and Donnie Wahlberg was in that. It took like what Hanks and Spielberg experienced while making Saving Private Ryan, turned it into a series. Then that later became the same group doing one about the Marines in the Pacific called The Pacific. And then more recently, Masters of the Air, which is about the bomber crews. I don't recommend it. It really was like a huge drop off. Yeah, watch any of those episodes and jump in at any point and you'll say, this scene is great. This story arc is fantastic. This character beat is perfect. Yeah, I would hold it up against any TV series ever, at least for one season.
Yeah, and it's crazy how they kind of switch. Like, it was always Damian Lewis and Winters, but they would kind of change like who was like the narrator and like who the focus was of different episodes. You never felt like it was disjointed. Like it was just a perfect series. I've rewatched it probably a dozen times. We used to have the DVD set that came in like a tin can, if you remember that, like a tin.
Yep.
Yeah. So it really was spectacular. It wasn't on my list, but I wish it was.
Dude, the cast is just crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, Damian Lewis, Donnie Wahlberg, Scott Grimes, and the fact that it's created by Hanks and I think like produced by Spielberg, right? I mean, it's like there was no way this thing was gonna fail. Jerry, what do you consider that the best war content ever?
Yeah, it might very well be. I've got others that I like a lot Saving Private Ryan being one. I'm really partial to Patton,
Yeah.
which is more about like one guy, but it's on this grand epic scale.
Can't beat
But,
the
you
opening
know,
scene of Patton.
Oh, it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, I put it on the other day because I got a new TV system and I was watching I put that on as a test for my wife and I just proceeded to do the entire speech verbatim and she's used to it by now. She just got on her phone.
Yeah.
But the way they were able to flesh out so many characters in a way that a movie never gets that chance to, certainly counts. You watch the one about Bastogne, where they're surrounded and it's just shelling and nothing but pine trees exploding over their heads. Later on, there's one called Why We Fight, and it's where they liberate a concentration camp. And then the way it all wraps up with them at like Hitler's lair up in the mountains, drinking his wine with their feet up. It's just incredible. So yeah, from front to back. And then they got David Schwimmer in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Captain
Like
Sobel.
yeah, exactly. It's like the guy who trains them at Currahee. And then at the end, like he gets his total, like just comeuppance when he refuses to salute Dick Winters. And Winters has now been promoted over him and makes him stop and says, "You salute the uniform, not the man." And he makes him do it. And you go, yes, like Schwimmer. I mean,
He was such a fucking weasel.
Yeah, people hate him in that. He's one of the most hateable characters ever.
Captain Sobel, the absolute woat.
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin, you're up.
I got song and movie, right? Is song music or is it specifically song?
Song. I think
Can't pick an album?
That's how we've been doing it, I believe.
Okay. If it was music, I would go with Jay-Z's Blueprint album. Came out on 9/11, and in the rap world, that's a big deal. I actually think we're gonna get, if I had to guess, I think we're gonna get a Jay-Z album this year on 9/11. So that's like a big thing in New York and in the rap world. The fact that he dropped his album on 9/11 and it didn't impact him. He sold like millions of records. It was like crazy. He went up against the biggest story ever, and like it didn't even impact him. If I'm picking just straight song though, staying true to my roots and keeping with hip hop, I will go with Outkast, Miss Jackson. I think one of the that's a mass appeal song, like Klemmer's gonna listen to that and nod his head along, even I bet even old Balls Thornton might sing along, so but at the same time, it's also, as far as rap goes, like they are two of the greatest ever, so it's a quality rap song that also got out of the bubble into the mainstream. And then, their album sold like 5 or 6 million and they went on to sell millions and millions more. One of the most iconic rap duos ever. So Miss Jackson.
Yeah. Great pick. That was probably going to be my first song. So I'll have to pivot off of that.
Really? That was your number one?
Yeah. That's
okay.
It's a good one.
Yeah. It's really.
I didn't love it as much as most, but it's obviously very popular. Outkast was a wagon.
Oh yeah. That CD got so much, like in every dorm you'd walk into, every dorm room, like everyone had Outkast.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. I wasn't walking into a lot of dorm rooms then. No, without being fitted for an ankle bracelet afterwards. But
I was gonna say, like, if some of these things, Jerry, it's great that you don't know them, because if you did, I'd have some questions for you. It's like, why do you know all the songs, and why were you watching Shrek? What were you doing in 01, old man?
Oh, trust me. Even in the early days of the Barstool parties when we were still in Boston, and Portnoy like demanded that I come to some, and I'm like, "Are you sure?" I'm gifted and also cursed with self-awareness, and I just don't want to be, this was long before the Steve Buscemi, meme, like, greetings, fellow kids, but I'm like, I don't want to be there with like, my pleated khakis and my members only jacket, my phone outside my belt, and he's going, "No, you've got to come." So that's where I would hear the music like you're mentioning, and this is like 2006 or so. So.
Take my word for it.
All right, it's to me. I'm going to go music. I'm going to go song as well, since they both have sports, so I don't need to take it yet. But I can't say what I said on the draft a couple weeks ago when talking about Nelly and not take one of my favorite songs of
that
all
was
time.
the other one. Fuck. You know what? I should have taken that one.
Yeah, Ride With Me is my pick.
Yeah.
Great one.
Yeah, because I actually like Ride With Me better than I do Miss Jackson. I think Miss Jackson is probably like, all the shit I described about it is true. But just as far as a party banger, that's the one, man. That's so good.
Elite song.
Yeah, that little guitar riff or whatever it is. I mean, it's so good.
It hypes you up. Hypes you up.
Yeah.
All right. I assume no more comments about Rodman.
Yeah, I don't know how many other people are going to talk about that one yet.
Exactly. Chief.
I'll take miscellaneous. I'll take the Enron scandal.
Nice. Yeah.
That was a story that kind of gripped everyone, and it's like a massive, massive fraud story. People won't understand this if they didn't live through it. They actually got in trouble. They actually
consequences.
Yeah, they actually lost a lot of money, and the CEO went to jail, and he got convicted, I think, in like 05 or 06. But just like blatant inflating numbers, like everything was fake, and then a whistleblower, and it all came crashing down. But I want to say like they were like a massive Texas company. Like I think they were the first. Wasn't it Enron Stadium where the expansion?
Yes,
wow.
Astros.
The Astros played.
Enron Field.
The Astros when it
Uh-oh.
Enron Field.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So like they were a huge like household name who was like completely fraudulent. And then there was like a pretty good little like made for TV movie about it. I think it was made for TV. But yeah, just a huge story that kind of captured everybody.
And in an era where that didn't really happen, like nowadays, a political, financial scandal is like pop culture. That's part of everyone's, algorithms. I was like a 15-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid. I shouldn't be even knowing about that stuff,
Right.
But it was like everyone knew what Enron meant. I actually remember hearing about like my parents talking about them before the scandal. Like it's this company that's like, we should invest in it and blah, blah, blah. And then it ends up being like the root of one of the biggest financial downfalls ever. So, it might not be, if you're younger, you might not understand, but it was, or maybe you do understand more than ever. But at that time, it was rare for that to reach like the kids.
It was horrible. I mean, so many people lost their pensions. It was an energy company in Texas, and it was giant. And people really lost everything because of this horrible scandal. And people were, obviously skimming off more than the top, middle, and bottom. It was disastrous. And you're absolutely right. It was a giant story. And one of the true, if you're ever interested, like kind of about how evil corporations can be, Enron's a good 1A example.
Yeah, but the benefit of it, though, because the CEO went to jail and everything, is that corporate America cleaned up their act after that. They said, you know what? No more scandals like this. Now we're just we're open books now, and we're going to play by the rules.
Right.
And the timing of it is funny. It didn't even occur to me that Enron happened in 2001, but if you remember, 2000 was the height of the dot-com bubble. The Super Bowl that year is legendary because virtually every commercial was for some dot-com company that stopped existing about 2 years later. Like you'd look back and go, oh wait, people didn't want to have 50-pound bags of pet food like shipped across the country to themselves. Like why were we doing this? And Enron was really the kind of the canary in the coal mine that just said, okay, we've been living on borrowed time here. A lot of this is just fake money, and no one knows what's going on.
Everything is fake. Because then, like to your point, what was it? 6 years later, we had the financial system, the whole mortgage crisis.
A year later is Bernie Madoff. And it just keeps,
everything, like everybody's cheating. Everything's fake. Everything's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it is, Chief? It's like Barry Bonds being like, fuck it, I'm doing steroids. All these other guys are doing it. If I was a CEO, I'd be like, hang on, I'm going to take home $25 million myself because everyone else is doing it too.
Probably the craziest.
That's the lesson of The Big Short. I mean, that whole film is basically about a couple of guys who figured out that this was just a scam, and they're like literal prostitutes that owned like 5 homes because they would get like 0% mortgages and whatever. And I think the implication there was, who are the real prostitutes in all this, symbolism. But Enron was really the tripwire that started it all.
Yeah.
Probably like you guys, this means nothing to you guys, but the craziest Chicago connection is we have like a legendary weatherman, like one of the, and I think he was in this season of The Bear. I don't know if you guys watch that show or not, but he's like,
absolutely.
One of those guys who's just like, everyone knows who he is. His brother was like one of the lead guys.
Oh, I didn't even know
Jeffrey
that.
Skilling.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Which is kind of wild. Klemmer, you're up.
All right. So my last 2 picks, right?
Yep.
So for music, I'll take Last Night by The Strokes.
Great one.
The Strokes, to me, that is like the quintessential 2001 like band. Like their peak was very high, but then very quickly fell off. But the Strokes from like when I was in college, the Strokes were really the band. It was kind of this post-grunge, post-alternative, just flat-out rock band. And Last Night, I think, is their key song. So for me, I couldn't do this list and not have Last Night by the Strokes on there.
Good one.
I feel like the Strokes are like kind of one of the modern day. Maybe if I'm wrong, it's not my genre, but I feel like they're like a rock band, like a real rock band. You know, everyone else kind of went pop and whatever, and they are like, we do rock music.
And it was great because there wasn't a lot of it, because you obviously hip hop was rising, but then you also had kind of the boy band shit,
right?
And and as a college kid, I didn't really want to listen to that, so like to have the Strokes was a nice respect there. I have miscellaneous. I got to choose this, and the Segway was invented. You guys made a great point. You're like, how often do we get like the Steve Jobs that like, I'm going to change the world?
Yeah.
And he did it. Dean Kamen said he was going to change the world, and he did it. No one wants this fucking thing. You just walk. Segways suck. They're horrible. It's a stupid invention. And Dean Kamen's from New Hampshire, and I was in college in New Hampshire at the time. So like it was even like more of a connection. But I know it was like Good Morning America is like, we are gonna change your world tomorrow. When you wake up tomorrow, we have an invention that's gonna change your world. The Segway. And everyone's like, this fucking sucks. So the Segway, the biggest bust of the year for sure. I gotta have it on the list.
That, you know what drives me crazier is however many years, 20 years later, whatever, when the hoverboards came out.
Yes.
And they had wheels rolling on the fucking ground. And everyone going on a hoverboard. Like, what? No, I hate the first one. I hate the second one. I hate all variations of this. There's the unicycle one with the one wheel. They're all lame.
Yeah.
Right. With the Segway, they promised like a future like on the ship in Wall-E, you know, where everyone would just be on Segways and the cities would be filled with them. They'd be going this way and that way. And it really quickly became the thing used by mall cops.
Yep.
And once in a while, you'll travel abroad and maybe you'll see like a Segway tour of some city or whatever. But you see those people and you just judge them quietly behind your eyes.
The mall cop with the helmet on and the Segway just like going like half a mile an hour, like patrolling the teens in the mall was the most pathetic thing I've ever seen. I think that Paul Blart Cop was made, like the Segway wasn't invented, that movie wouldn't have been made.
Yeah.
I mentioned I was living in New Hampshire at the time, so he had deals with certain towns to have the mailmen ride them. So you see the mailman like struggling to balance it while he's trying to put the thing in.
And you know he's like, just fuck this, give me my truck, man.
I don't like to walk my beat.
Yeah.
I just want to be sitting at the bar at 5:05 this afternoon. I don't want to be. The kids were making fun of me before. Now I'm on a freaking Segway.
I did
when we do these drafts, like everybody kind of sees the same lists on Google and our same research. And a lot of times I'm like, oh, I had that one too. Segway was a good pick, Klemmer. I didn't see
very
that coming.
Good pick.
It fits
late in the draft too. That's gonna be the steal.
Good value.
You know what? Was Segway just like way ahead of their time? I feel like that's not that different from the scooters that like the Lime or City scooters that you see people taking all the time now.
I think it's the format of like the weird balancing thing versus like just give me some handles and I'll zip around, because you're right. The scooters are a hit in the Austins and San Francisco's.
We have a ton of them here. I see them all the time.
Do they?
Yeah.
They never caught on in New York. I kind of understand why. We got one. Whatever the big brand is now, when they were first coming out, they sent one to the office. And for a couple weeks, I was zipping back and forth from the office to Grand Central. And it was awesome. But I was like, for sure going to die. I'm going like 30 miles an hour down Park Avenue. And like, I get why it can't work in New York.
Yeah, I think like the pilot program in Chicago was 2019. It was like centered in my neighborhood. So that summer, I was just zipping around all the time. And when you're just, because you're not supposed to use them on the sidewalk. So when you're just like on Ashland Avenue, you're like a very busy street, you're like, this is not good. I need to get off of this.
A lot of people are still getting hurt.
Yeah.
Chief, you need a song.
I need a song. I think I'm going to go with a little bit of I'll call this a personal pick. I think this song fucking rocks, but I think they only had this one song. What Would You Do by City High? What would you do if your son was at home crying all alone? So I still love that song. I hear it very rarely, but when it comes on, I turn the music up and I still know every single word. So What Would You Do by City High.
When the first time this goes re-viral like all the time, but the first time that tweet with the acronym of what would you do if your girl was at home?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't
Like, so they do the first letter of the whole thing. What would you do if your girl was at home crying on the floor? And we all knew it. And people were like, what is this song? And everyone was like, City High. It was just something that is like ingrained in us. That is a great pick too. Love it.
That is a good pick.
Yeah.
It's a good song. To me, sports. All right, you guys both have sports, so I could kind of talk about it. So Jordan never played basketball after 1998, so
Oh, now I understand what you're talking about. Okay.
like I just refuse to believe anything happened with Michael Jordan in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean,
right? It just never happened, guys.
but also
I think he was better than on the Wizards than people give him credit for.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
He was. That one block he has where he pulls the ball off the backboard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
He was still doing some circus shit. It was few and far between, but he still gave you some moments of like, oh shit. Does it make you feel at all like the Chicago version of him was like? I can understand that your GOAT was like kind of toiling in Washington, but also from just the Chicago point of view, it's like you got the real Jordan experience. You don't even have to worry about that.
51 points against the Hornets on December 29th, 2001. Okay.
Pretty good.
I mean,
You know,
Yeah.
38 years old, 51 points.
Yeah, and it's not because of like play or anything. It's just like to see him in another uniform is tough.
Yeah.
That's like
got it.
Yeah. He'll forever be on that list of athletes that you forget where they ended their career. Johnny Unitas with the Chargers, Bobby Orr with the Blackhawks, or whatever.
LeBron James with the 76ers, you know?
Yeah.
You just have those worthless ends to your career that don't matter and you embarrass yourself. Yep,
Every once in a while, I'll post a Bobby Orr and a Blackhawks thing, and I really just do it because I know it irks RA, and he will respond, and it's just like it's just a bit for myself.
You know what's a great one is Willie Mays with the Mets. That is a fucking disaster.
Sad. He fell down in the World Series.
Yeah.
Not good. The Jordan thing is, so he was supposed to have his press conference to announce he was going to the Wizards on September 11th.
Oh, really?
That was the news that morning. It was like, oh, he's going to have his press conference. And then obviously they had to scrap the press conference. And he never really had a true one, but he donated his whole salary that year to 9/11 fund, which I think is pretty cool.
That's
pretty
nice.
classy.
2 days after he had the 51 points, he had 45 points.
Yeah.
Still got it.
for him,
And
yeah.
he psychologically destroyed Kwame Brown. And that to the stat list, you know?
Yeah.
So like I said, never happened.
Never
So with
happened,
that said, I mean Dale, that's the year Dale died.
Yeah.
At the Daytona 500. So
That's right.
So massive story. One of the biggest NASCAR racers dies at the big one. So I'm gonna go with Dale.
Probably
crazy.
the most iconic name. Like,
Yeah.
if you were to like put a gun to my head and like name a NASCAR driver, that's the first name I would pull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't name a lot of guys' number off the top of your head.
Number
But
3.
even the most casual motorsports guy is going to go, oh, yeah, the number 3, the iconic black with the, for sure. And that one, if you're really into NASCAR, that was the death you're never going to get over.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was in the Daytona 500, you know,
Right,
it wasn't, it was
yeah.
like,
At the
it's like
end of
some
it,
dying
too,
at the
it was
Super
crazy.
Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah. Final
There are
lap.
people who didn't cry when their parents died, but still haven't gotten over. Have the 3 tattoo on their ankle or whatever.
Well, those people need therapy. So
Well, yeah, but also it's like, how many Daytona 500s did your dad win? None. So
that's true.
fuck that, you know?
True. Not many.
All right, KFC, you're up.
I got movie. Who else has movies? Anybody have movies left?
No,
Nope.
just you.
I'm done.
Okay, so like I was looking at the top list of like, Beautiful Mind is up there, and there's some some real movies on the list, but I am staying true to myself with one of the best bad movies ever, one of the all-time kind of Shawshank type movies that stop you in your tracks, Jerry. Saving Silverman.
Oh,
my
I
God.
wrote down a different movie.
Yeah.
I wrote down a
A
different
little-
movie.
A little
Really?
comedy, yeah. I love Saving Silverman, and as a matter of fact, I've used Saving Silverman. It was a blog a blogging device of mine because for a long time, I think it had the biggest gap between critic score and audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. And that was like, I'm an audience guy. Fuck the critics, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
sure.
so the audience loves it, and obviously critics hate it because it's absolutely moronic and idiotic. But I absolutely love that movie. And I'm not even a big Jack Black guy, but that's how much I like that movie because it doesn't bother me in that. So I can quote it, I can watch it. It's obviously so dumb, but man, I love it.
The one nacho
sometimes
joke.
that
Yeah, I mean, there's so much good there. Amanda Pete's like a psycho. It's such a it's one of those things where you know, we I think on this show we argued about like how comedy acting should get more Oscars and awards and respect.
sure.
And I know it's so silly, but it's a pretty like creative and original script of like who came up with this and how did this get made? So it has a real special spot in my heart.
Sometimes that disparity on Rotten Tomatoes is the best selling point for a movie. Like you feel like if you're really enjoying this genuinely, you're like sticking it to the man. Tommy Boy is my example of that always. Critics hated that thing, and I defy anyone to watch 5 minutes of it and not laugh out loud at least twice. And Silverman, I guess, is one of those. You know, like Roadhouse, the greatest bad movie of all time, or the worst good movie. I haven't.
We don't know. Yeah, that's
exactly.
the beauty of it. Yeah.
All right, Klemmer or Jerry, Mr. Irrelevant. What's your song gonna be?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. And
okay.
I save song for last in that way, like in your fantasy draft, where you just go, screw it, I'll just take the best punter off the board. And yet I was left with one that, while this wasn't my genre, I'm going to go against type. Because I've played to the old balls character with Tom Brady in World War II.
Oh my God, I can't wait. What is this going to be? What is this going to be?
It's an earworm that I swear to you is on my playlist for the gym today as we speak. I listen to it on the regular. Shaggy. It wasn't me.
Oh, good one.
Good pick.
I have a specific memory of having to pick up my in-laws at the airport. And you know, when you're in someone else's car and it's unfamiliar, you're a little apprehensive about working the controls. So whatever station happened to be on, I turned it just a little bit from like NPR or whatever to music. And I'm driving up the expressway into Logan, singing about banging a girl on the bathroom floor and stuff. And it hasn't gone away from me. Like a million listens in the 25 years since. And it's still an undeniably like fun song.
Tell her it wasn't you.
I mean, it's great advice. You know, it's like. By the way, the fact that Shaggy, that accent was fake, is one of the greatest. Yes, Shaggy.
You're
Shaggy
kidding me.
speaks normal. Shaggy just talks like me, and he just was like, "I'll turn into Mr. Lova," and it worked. So I just kept doing it. It's one of the greatest marketing scams of all time.
I mean,
I swear to you, within the last week, I just looked at the lyrics on Spotify to figure out exactly what he's saying, because the other part's really totally coherent. You couldn't sing it at karaoke. You wouldn't be able to read what it is. It's all just word fragments and apostrophes, and that's a fake accent. You are kidding me.
I never knew that. That's crazy.
Mind blown.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, today
you know
would
that?
probably be cultural appropriation and all that shit. But I mean, he is the man. How about this for ridiculous? The girl I was dating in high school, that was like our song. It was just like a popular song that was on at like dances and on the radio. We were together. It was, it's our song, and people were like, "That's your song is about." Ridiculous.
And clearly, mom and dad never heard you guys playing it.
No, never did.
Good, yeah.
Never did.
I was like, I'm so glad that I made that pick by your reaction instead of.
No, it was a great one.
Because I was this close to going with Nickelback, but I said, you know what? How often do I listen to that?
How you remind me would have been fine.
Yeah.
That was on my list, but I feel good about it.
Yeah, I think it was big, and because I think it technically came out in 2000, but the music always gets weird, so it's fine. It's fine. But I love the thought of, I'm sure like you have a couple stoolies at your gym. I love the thought of them now. They're just going to be thinking that you're playing Shaggy while you're on the elliptical, Jerry. All right, then. let's do some honorable mentions and we'll vote someone off and we'll get out of here.
Dude, I feel like my honorable mentions could be
Yeah.
a better draft. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot that I feel like
We left a lot of meat on this bone. Maybe not news stories, but definitely for the pop culture stuff.
Let's start with sports. Does Kevin, you have anything sports left over?
Yeah, let me see. Sports. I think Cal Ripken at the All-Star game hitting that home run was a big moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was his final season, right? I think Tiger was absolutely dominant. No one that was like
That
his
was
year,
the Tiger Slam. Yeah.
The Tiger Slam, like that one, I'm surprised no one took.
Yep. And then I guess this one's a little definitely a second tier type thing. Well, there's a couple. Ichiro had the MVP and Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, and the Mariners got their win record.
Mariners
that
had
year.
116.
I think you're leaving off.
And Allen Iverson.
That to me is the one.
Yeah.
Step over?
The step over
Especially
Ty
when you're
Lue.
calling it a moment, like
Yeah.
a sports moment, that step over.
Yeah.
I just love that too, because remember everyone was saying that the Lakers were rolling and they said it was going to be a sweep, and then Philly wins game one, and so the Philly fans were like, it's still going to be a sweep, but in the other direction, and then they get absolutely walloped. But that moment in that game one was probably worth it. It's for Philadelphia. That's like the Rocky statue. It's like you didn't get it done, but you had the step over, and that's memorable.
It was
Sure.
cool.
2001 was Ichiro's debut.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That was no small thing. I mean, he was already an established star at the time.
I mean, do you think
the
we'll ever
Ravens-
see a Rookie of the Year MVP like ever again?
No.
It happened for Fred Lynn. It'll happen again. I never say never.
Yeah. The 2000 Ravens, obviously the Super Bowl in 2001, they won that. Still to this day, one of the all-time great defenses of all time. Was that before or after Ray Lewis got implicated with the whole?
After. Because
Okay.
that was the thing where like he won Super Bowl MVP, but I think they had Dilfer do the I'm going to Disney because he.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good call. Good call. Yep. And that was around that time was the first of two times he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated praying like this. Again, when they were making their next run under Harbaugh, again, him praying maybe that his next girlfriend doesn't get pregnant because he ended up with like 8 kids by 7 different women or something. But okay, thank you. Let's hear you preach the gospel some more, Ray. It confessed to hiding evidence in a double homicide case, but sure, I'll take all my moral lessons from you.
I had the XFL is born.
He hate me alone would have been on the list.
Yeah, dude. Like that was the height of WWF too. So it was like
that.
Huge.
So that to me was going to be. I was thinking about maybe trying to weasel that as sports or use that instead of Jackass, but I think WWF bought WCW that year, and so like it's the Attitude Era. But if you have to pick a singular thing, I think the merger between the two was a major moment in wrestling, and 01 was such a wrestling time. So it kills me that that's not on my list. I went with Jackass over wrestling, and I'm probably going to regret that. But those are the two. That was the other thing I was talking about. I think the WWF Attitude Era and Jackass, for my age group, like those two things hitting at the same time, it was just like we went from boys to men because of those two things right there.
For sure. Any other sports?
Yeah, I had Ray Bork winning the Stanley Cup. Like that was such a moment where like the Avalanche win it, and Sakic just immediately hands the cup to Ray Bork, who I think was like in his 20-something year career, like finally got one.
And the all-time lowest point in Boston sports history.
They threw him a parade.
They had a parade for him because it had been no team had won it all in here since the 1986 Celtics.
Right.
And then there was some horrible near misses and whatever. And then Bork comes along and we had a parade for a guy who won it with another team. Like everyone was happy for him, but really, do we want to throw this party? Is this? I feel like it had to have been awkward for everybody there.
It was the first cue the duck boats. There's one on that McGillicuddy sign. He's got an Avalanche logo. Yeah.
I honestly think
Love the McGillicuddy came up.
All these years that I've been, concocting that fan fiction of how Portnoy sold his soul to the devil and like what were the circumstances where the actual transaction went down. You could probably write a story about it happening at that parade. Portnoy's like watching this, like, we got to do something about this. The city's got to figure this out. We're throwing parades for a Colorado team. So that was the darkest before the dawn was the Ray Borg parade.
There's a smell of sulfur, and he's taking signing a paper in blood.
Exactly. Yeah.
17 titles later or whatever it is.
I feel like song we could go on and on. Does anyone have any they want to mention briefly or no?
I got three. The Middle by Jimmy Eat World.
Okay.
Fallen by Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
And Fell in Love with a Girl by White Stripes. I think all those three could have been on here.
Mm-hmm.
I have a horny pick. It's more of the music video, but Britney Spears, I'm a Slave for You, with that fucking snake, which she did at the MTV Music Awards. I think that might be the hottest she ever was.
That's also just a valid pick for the song. Like, even if you don't like it, it was a big smash for her.
Yeah, and that absolutely, that moment could have been like under miscellaneous or pop culture moment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still imitated to this day.
I feel like girls do it for like Halloween costumes. They get like a fake snake and.
Oh yeah, big time.
I get Independent Women, Destiny's Child. That had a life as like a movie theme for the Charlie's Angels. Lady Marmalade by Christina and Pink and whatever from Moulin Rouge, because that was a song when I was like a kid and you didn't really understand that it was about a brothel or whatever. But that thing was huge. But I think you guys have much bigger miscellaneous ones than me.
Movies, Klemmer.
Yep.
The only one I would have had on, because I really don't like this movie at all. Royal Tenenbaums is a movie I love a lot, but Wes Anderson's kind of just gone to that well so many times. It's kind of almost not ruined the movie for me, but kind of ruined him for me. But other than that, I just don't love 2001.
What about I almost feel like this is retroactive given all the recent successes. Memento was 01, right?
Yep.
Oh,
was
it 01 or 2000?
I saw that as 2000.
No, it was
okay.
it was I had it as 2001.
I saw it's always weird. Sometimes it comes out.
It was such a
like
small
it's popular.
movie.
Yeah.
It got such a little release, and it kind of built up. And a lot of people didn't discover it until it was on DVD in 2001, 2002. So, you could say whatever, but I mean, that's a great movie. So
it's one of those. Here's what it was. It was released in America in 01, but it technically came out at the Venice Film Festival in 2000.
So 01 counts then for sure. Memento is great. It was just such a small movie. I'd have a hard time in that moment. I'd have a hard time.
That's what I mean. Retroactive, yeah.
There were two franchises that were launched, one of which I'm going to try to go to my grave without ever watching 5 minutes of it, and that's The Fast and the Furious. But I mean, the public has spoken. They're beyond like X, right? They're into like 11 or something, and showing no signs of slowing down. But I'm shocked that none of us mentioned Harry Potter, the Sorcerer's Stone.
I couldn't believe you guys didn't. I'm not a Harry Potter guy,
I
was
wasn't
waiting
either.
for someone. That's
not a Harry Potter guy, but that's the one I was referencing, saying there was two juggernauts.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think there's two other juggernauts. One of them I thought Kevin was going to take when he took Saving Silverman. Zoolander.
Zoolander was the other one.
Yeah.
I just personally like Saving Silverman better, but Zoolander is the one, yeah.
Legally Blonde also came out that year.
And Black Hawk Down, right?
And Black Hawk
Down, yeah.
Black Hawk Down,
and A Beautiful Mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That was
Actually, I think won the Oscar.
It did. Won Best Picture. Russell Crowe won Best Actor.
Joe Dirt got snubbed.
Yeah, I got that on my board. I got Joe Dirt, Scary Movie 2, American Pie 2, Rat Race, Hardball, Monsters Inc.
Those are I feel like those are right up your alley, Eddie.
Those are. That's what I said. I'm like, I'm not going to take one that I've talked about forever on this show.
Yeah.
I'm going to take like an actual
real movie.
Yeah.
Every single one of us has a woman in their life under the age of probably 40 who this whole time has been screaming, Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
Look at Elwood. I know that whole movie
I like
by
Legally
heart.
Blonde too. That's a good
it's
one.
a good movie.
Yeah. I don't even need the girlfriend disclaimer. Like, I'll fucking watch Legally Blonde. I don't care.
I wonder how many more female lawyers there are today compared to before that movie came out.
Probably not you're not wrong. I bet you that actually impacted things. Yeah.
Yeah. The other day on my feed, it popped up with Elwood cross-examining Colonel Jessup. And the two of them going back and forth. And she's asking about perms, and he's going, I haven't the first clue. And she's going, well, why would anyone want to get their hair wet after they had a perm? Like, I'm an educated man, but I'm like,
that's funny.
I know I could do half of that.
Yeah.
And 90% of the women watching this could do the Elwood side of it.
Let's do news stories. Jerry, you got anything left?
Anything else that came up that was huge? Boy, because I mean, everything was obliterated by now. Timothy McVeigh was executed.
Yep, had that.
And I mean, relatively speaking, it didn't take long from conviction to him, leaving this earth and making it a better place. The first human genome was mapped.
Oh,
Again, who knew?
You know what is a good one?
What that would be?
Wikipedia started in 01.
Yeah.
And that's like, you just think about how many people wrote papers and just get their information and just, it almost became like a Google thing. You got to Wikipedia it. That actually might be one of the more like pervasive, influential picks in the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's so underrated, Kevin. For the first, I don't know, probably 15 years that I was at Barstool, if I had any question about anything, I would start with the word wiki and then Google what I was looking for. Yeah. Because you want your information to be accurate,
Yeah.
Yeah. The only other like 9/11 moment was George Bush basically in the rubble where he's got the bullhorn and someone yells out, "I can't hear you." And he's like, "Well, I can hear you. And pretty soon the whole world's going to hear all of us." And it was like another one of those like unifying, like, "Oh, let's fucking go." Moments.
You know what? To me, if I didn't pick Red the Band Bandana, I thought maybe you guys would, is Flight 93, Let's Roll.
Yeah.
I feel like
sure.
That was kind of as inspirational as
definitely.
On that note, like the November 12th plane crash was pretty crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember. So that was a plane that crashed into New York City.
Yeah.
It was Queens or Brooklyn? Brooklyn, I think.
Staten Island, maybe?
I don't think it was Staten Island. I'm pretty sure it was Brooklyn. When it happened, I remember thinking, "Oh my God, we're getting attacked again." It was a terrible feeling. It was so scary. But unfortunately, it was just an honest, a horrible plane crash, not terror.
But as I remember, as you mentioned this, I feel like there was a moment that went viral, or whatever the equivalent of viral was in 2001, where like a firefighter was talking on camera, and he's just saying, "Anyone who wants to threaten this, our city again, you can kiss my white Irish ass, whatever." And it was his neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
So we're all thinking, "Oh my gosh, they actually, took him up on it." But like you said, it was just random.
Yeah, I think if you went into the nitty gritty of 9/11, I mean, we all could have had 5 straight picks of just like the different stories and
for sure.
One moment that stands out to me was, how TV just shut down. It was wall-to-wall coverage all the time, with the exception of 2 networks, and I'm eternally grateful for this because I had like a kindergartner at home. Nickelodeon and Disney just stayed with their own content, and we just have a scroll on the screen saying, "We're just going to keep this for families," or whatever. And it took about 10 days for my son to catch on. "Hey, Dad, I saw planes flying into a building," and it just crushed me. Like, he'll never be innocent again. But I remember Letterman finally going on the air right in the heart of Manhattan and speaking from the heart about what it's like walking around here and how you just feel you're absolutely like numb or like ghosts. And then he had like Dan Rather come out, and Dan Rather's reading the lyrics from America the Beautiful that pertain to like, people giving their lives for others. And then Regis Philbin came out. I'll never forget as long as I live. Letterman turns to him and says, "So tell us about the time you met Joey Bishop." It was just so like a non sequitur, and then life just sort of, at least comedy started to take its first few steps coming back.
By the way, it was a 1960s stand-up comic for anyone that doesn't know who the hell Joey Bishop is.
I didn't.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like an old school friggin', show
But
business.
you know
reference.
what? Speaking of Regis Philbin, I feel like you could throw Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in this. I don't know when that came out, but
this was the downfall of it, though.
Oh, was it?
2000 was the year it was just everywhere. But 2001, ABC was stuck with 4 nights of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. No one would watch anymore.
It was that short of a run. It was just 2 years.
It was basically just like a year, really. And ABC's like, "Fuck, we have no programming now." And ABC took it in the mouth. Bad.
What about I feel like this was also the Survivor era, right? Where
that was 2000.
Survivor premiered in 2000. Summer of 2000.
But 2001, you're getting probably like 50 million viewers and Big Brother spin-offs and like just that's reality era.
This is like season 3 of Survivor.
Yeah. The other 2 news stories I have are Aaliyah dying. That was a big deal.
That was a big
Okay,
one.
Yeah.
Story.
And then
gosh.
Winona Ryder, the shoplifting saga
Yep.
was that.
Oh, I forgot
Oh,
about
That was a
that.
big.
Okay.
That was a big thing.
Yeah.
Real quick, last things I got in the gaming world, Xbox came out and GTA 3 came out. Those
I
are very
almost
big
took
ones.
that, Kevin, because GTA 1 and 2 were like kind of nothing, and then 3 is
3
kind of
was when it became
3
the,
changed the game.
yeah.
And that, I mean, it was, 9/11 happened, and then you have this like, you're the bad guy, and like I think they had to tweak a little bit of that game before they released it. And then the other thing is just like the style from 01 for like the Von Dutch hats and the low-rise jeans
Yeah.
and that whole like that essence of that era was ugly clothes.
Yeah, I thought about leaning into TV a bit more. The famous Pine Barrens episode of The Sopranos.
Yeah.
24 debuted in 2001.
Yeah.
And
Right.
the whole novelty of it, this whole season is going to unfold in real time. And then you're halfway through the season, and it's like, wait a minute, his daughter's had amnesia twice. His wife's been kidnapped twice. And then a few years go by, in the early days of Barstool, we had an anonymous reader who was just 24 guy, who was breaking down episodes in the most in-depth and hilarious way. And he had this super like crush on Chloe, who
Yep.
you'll remember from It's Always Sunny as the snail, but this guy was totally in love with her. My pal Jamie Chisholm did an article once about what's in Jack Bauer's bag, and he just listed all the things that he would keep reaching into his back. He could disable alarms with it. There was like C4 in there. But the show was huge at first, and then it just became like camp, but still resonates.
Yeah, I mean that the season where Kim Bauer is getting chased by a jaguar on a mountainside, I remember being like, all right, we've officially jumped the shark.
But it is one of those, like the sound, or I don't want to call it music. Yeah, where it's just
Yes,
like you
yes.
hear it and you're like, that's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I loved it, man. Those DVDs, like I watched the
Yeah.
DVD sets, and I used to bang those seasons out like nonstop. I loved them.
Fear Factor debuted too, which was also a very culturally
Oh,
relevant
jeez.
show.
Okay. Yep.
Good one.
Where are we without Joe Rogan if Fear Factor doesn't become a thing?
Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Like, he was on news radio before that.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Yeah.
And then to think, like, my guy, Johnny Knoxville, 25 years later or whatever, is the new host of the reboot. So, like, staying power
true.
of all that shit. I mean, the guys and the things we're talking about are back. And, I mean, that's no surprise. Everything's cyclical. But the staying power that some of that generation had is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I have two sons, and the only thing I've ever done that remotely impressed them was when I told them I've opened for Joe Rogan a couple of times back in the day. He was
Really?
That's a great one to have.
originally a
today, guys.
Boston
That's awesome.
comic and stuff. He would know me if I was standing in front of him, but I was hoping my name had come up when he was talking to Portnoy that time. Okay, no.
That's hilarious. All right, anything else? You guys want to do the vote?
All I got.
All right, let's do it. So this is the person who will not be on the poll, Jerry. Klemmer, 9/11, Diamondbacks win the World Series. Ocean's 11, last night, Segway was invented. Chief, George Bush, first pitch. Barry Bonds hits 73. Shrek, Enron, what would you do? Eddie, Anthrax, Apple releases the iPod. Training Day, Ride With Me. Dale Earnhardt dies at Daytona. KFC, The Man in the Red Bandana. Mike Piazza, home run. Jackass, Miss Jackson saving Silverman. Jerry, Tom Brady's takes over for Bledsoe. Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Gary Condit / Sandra Levy. Band of Brothers, and It Wasn't Me. Write
Man.
down in a blank text, write down on a piece of paper, whatever you want to do. It's a tough one.
I don't know. Usually I have one that jumps out at me.
Yeah. Well, Dave's not here.
Yeah, that's true. That makes it a lot harder when you have a moron. For no other reason than I don't want to see the Patriots on the up there on the board, I'm voting Jerry.
All right, one for Jerry. Jerry, who do you got?
Okay. I love you, Kevin, but the Piazza thing didn't quite have the reach of every other thing. Like the Man in the Red Bandana, some of that got a little local and colloquial here, and again, it wasn't a great like postseason moment. So I'm going to go with KFC.
I think I'm getting left off.
One for Jerry, one for Kevin. Klemmer, who do you got?
I got Jerry. Between Lord of the Rings and Tom Brady, I'm good. I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, I kind of leaned into the pitch on that.
Chief, who do you got?
I also went for Kevin, just because I think the Piazza is not. I think that's maybe a bigger one for Mets fans locally, but I remember it, but it doesn't grip me the way the other ones. But this is one of the harder ones.
It was hard. Like
Mhm.
I'm sick with myself that I'm voting off the man in the red bandana, but I did Kevin as well.
Mhm.
Because I like Sosa running around with the little flags
flag.
too. Like that was kind of my moment for that too. So I'm kind of with you.
Yeah, the Sosa one was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as the date approaches, I know I'm going to do Man in the Red Bandana. I'm going to reread the Large's epic blog about it. I'll dust off the playlist of Springsteen's The Rising,
Yeah.
which is really his last great piece of work. Don't tell Minahan I said that. I'm sure he's going to like just clap at me for the next like 20 years. But yeah, the Man in the Red Bandana is
Go.
at front and center of that.
All right, guys. Appreciate you jumping on.
Thank you, boys.
Yeah, that's it. Fun trip down memory lane, although some stuff not so fun, but
Kinda.
whatever.
Yeah.
All right, that's it, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all tomorrow.